opened in stages. The first station was Ashwater, which served the hamlet of Ash Mill. In the valley of the River Carey, it was served only by narrow lanes. Tower Hill was named after an adjacent farm. During World War II, 2 sidings and a road were laid behind the goods yard to serve US ammunition dumps for the war in Europe. On the approach to Launceston, the GWR branch from Plymouth is crossed and the wartime connection to the southern station seen. The Launceston signal box contained back-to-back lever frames to control both the GWR and SR stations. The western terminus was to the north, which had arrived in the town as broad gauge 21 years before the southwestern. It closed to passengers in 1952, western trains using the southern station instead. A single-car DMU arrives and departs for Wadebridge. It's Whitsun 1966. The western service to Plymouth ceased in December 1962. However, this line reopened in 1964 for freight to serve Launceston up till May 1966, including the Ambrosia factory at Lifton and fertiliser traffic. The line continued west over the moors and an 860-foot summit near Otterham to St Kew Highway. N-Class 31855, late of Hither Green Depot in London, arrives St Padstow and departs for Oakhampton. The last train on the Withered Arm left Wadebridge on the 1st of October 1966. We travelled back over the North Cornwall line in August 1962, passing Port Isaac Road, 3.5 miles from the port, before Della Bowl, famous for its large slate quarries. Then Camelford, with its built-in publicity for the Southern Railway, for here the legend of King Arthur could be found. Camelford was home to the county court, and the rural district population was several thousand. As 31841 arrived, again in 1962, with a down train, one could see an awning on the upside platform, for it could be very wet and windy here at 700 feet, or be covered in sea fog. Otterham was near the summit of the line at 850 feet above sea level. 31857 calls on an afternoon up passenger. Behind the signal box was a goods yard, which once served a substantial trade in rabbits to McFisheries. Remember them? And also cheese from the nearby Cowan Gate factory. Tresmere, with its short 7-coach passing loop. This was once the end of the line in 1892, through trains running a year later on to Otterham. Egleskerry, with its truly Cornish name from the Celtic Eglis meaning church. And now Launceston, where this time there's a Western Region prairie tank present on a service to Plymouth. The restricted length of the loops of these last 3 stations meant the timings of Saturday holiday expresses needed careful regulating. Leaving Launceston, now in 1963, past the Western Connection and onto the token exchange at Tower Hill. Tower Hill and the next station Ashwater had buildings made in local blue stone and were almost identical, with their ticket office and adjoining station master's house. Although this sign says Halwill Junction, officially from 1923 Junction was dropped and it became Halwill for Beworthy. On summer Saturdays only, the Bude line had a through train to Waterloo all to itself, its very own Atlantic Coast Express, and here it is arriving behind 31837 on the 19th of August 1961.